Heyo, what's going on? Getting the stream started for you here, and yeah, I'm excited. All right, let's get the YouTube up and running here. All right, here we go. All right, we got the. Let's get our recorder going. Let's start off with a song. Looking out the road, rushing under my wheels. Looking back at the years gone by like so many summer fields. 65, I was 17 and running up 101. I don't know where I'm running now, I'm just running on. Running on, running on, running on, running behind. Hey, what's going on? It's Quinn David Furness. Welcome to my show. Quinn David Furness presents the Beantown Podcast. Year 4 summary. What's happening? How are you? My name is Quinn David Furness, and this is my show. And the recap of the Beantown Podcast, running on empty, but I still come to you live every week. Hey, Recon, good to see you. What's going on? Regardless of what happens, whether there's, snowstorm or COVID or minor inconvenience, we're talking hangnails, Iraq war, pollution in the lake, no matter what happens, I come to you live every single week. My name is Quinn David Furness. Thanks for being here. Listener discretion is advised when you're listening to the Beantown Podcast. Number 1, we'll occasionally use some language. Number 2, this podcast is objectively terrible, but I'm really thankful that you all are here joining me today for our big year-end special, year 4 of the Beantown Podcast. I say it here and there, but it's hard to believe that we've been doing this for 4 years straight without a break. I've never taken a week off. I've never even done like the pre-recorded episodes and then just dropped one when I'm busy or something like that. Every single week since January, I think 10th or 13th or something like that is the first episode from 2018. You've gotten a little bit of a live Quinn every single week, and that's my dedication to you. And I got to tell you, there have been ups, there have been downs, there have been some more downs, and then a lot more downs. But no matter what, I'm coming to you live, and that's my pledge to you. What's happening is Friday, TGIF, right? I got this sign for Christmas. If you're not watching the live stream, you should be. We're on YouTube. This was from my partner's family. It's a little tough to see with the bright lights on the YouTube stream, and it's backwards, which is helpful. But it says live on air, Beantown Podcast. Thank you so much to the family for gifting that to me for Christmas. I really appreciate it. I tell you what, by like year 20, and so that's 15 years away. That's nothing. 15 years ago, I was I was about yay high. And speaking of Rekent, 15 years ago, I was probably playing basketball for those guys. Just a killer Rockford Fire team. Faith, integrity, respect, and empathy, I think. That's good stuff. But, yeah, we're coming to you live. And I got a little, not an official sponsor of the show, but I went out to Target yesterday and got some of these Good and Gather unsweetened raspberry hibiscus sparkling water made with natural flavors, only 0 calories per serving. There's hints of hibiscus, obviously. I'm getting a little bit of a lime twist, perhaps, and perhaps just a little bit of pimento. But it's delicious nonetheless. And the reason I bought that, I don't typically buy any sort of water, sparkling water, anything like that. But I do like the bubbles, and it's dry January. And yes, I do have a soda stream actually, but I decided that I was gonna, I could splurge a little bit on the official stuff. Thanks again to Jackson Brown for providing our opening song. No copyright infringement intended. But yeah, I decided, look, I'm saving all this money on alcohol. Let's try January, of which this is the end of the first full week. It's January 7th, 2022. And so, no, there is no alcohol in here. It's just water, natural flavors, and good stuff. But I was actually thinking, I got out of the shower not less than 10 minutes ago, and I decided that it would have been good to like get high or something for this stream. I've never really done that before, and here's the thing, it's something I don't think about very frequently. But it's legal here in Illinois. I can just go to any dispensary anytime I want, and get some good stuff, or at the very least go to I never think about it. It's not part of my day to day. Let's see. Oh, we got live questions coming here in the chat. This is a new thing for the Beantown Podcast. We don't do this very often. So let's see. What are your thoughts on legalizing? Oh, okay. We got stuff that the family friendly crowd is not going to appreciate. It has to do with expressing your own body, and love comes in all shapes and sizes. And I think there's a lot of nuances to that. But I think people should be. I think in terms of like sex laws, that should, let's look to Amsterdam. Okay, we should keep it. People should do what they want to do. Should there be tax exemptions for it? Oh, well, that's a good question, and we're going to bring that up on our fifth annual. I gotta, really lean into this hand sign. I'm doing the 5 fingers, but I got to be careful. I don't want Jared from Subway to get too involved. This year we got 52 episodes and maybe a special here and there, where I can really lean into the 5-fingered, the full hand sort of hand gesture. That would have been good to have as part of our Beantown Podcast Year 5 poster, which I will reveal now live on stream. But what I was going to say was that will be a good question for a Year 5 tax special, starring good dear friend of the podcast Matthew Fiedler, who's kind enough to join us every year for that episode. And even though we throw some crazy questions at him, we do that every year. So if you're watching the YouTube stream, gosh, I think this will be backwards too, but here's our Beantown Podcast Year 5 poster coming out this week. No, you can't buy it online, but maybe it's an NFT. I don't know. Non-fungible token. I don't really know what it means to fungize something, Fungize. That could be Frank Thomas. What's his nickname? The big sausage or something like that here in Chicago. Yeah, I don't remember where I was going with that. But Year 5 of the Beantown Podcast, and this is our Year 4 recap. I want to say hello, Allahu, Assam alaikum. It was something like that said you say hello to people in Pakistan. So I want to, show you that I made the effort. We did a little Google translating last week, and that's what it came out to. So hello to, if you're watching this live from Pakistan, gosh, it's got to be about 4 a.m., 5 a.m., something like that. I had a call with a kid from Beijing this morning, and China happens to be 14 hours ahead of us right now. So if you subtract a couple time zones, you go west, about this much or so to Pakistan. I don't actually know the time differences, but I suppose it's got to be somewhere in the 11 to 11 and a half hour range. So if you are watching this, well, maybe you're waking up with Beantown. Okay, it's about 5:15 p.m. here on a Friday. TGIF, we have finished work for the week, but that's actually not true because I have to work tomorrow as well. So 11 hours, that's 6:20. I don't know. It's the weekend in Pakistan. You figure you got the kids. They're waking up early for some cartoons. Paw Patrol Islamabad edition. And, maybe the parents, you're making some Pakistani pancakes, something like that. Could be delicious, could be tasty. What I used to like to do, we would strip the sheets. Laundry oftentimes would be on a Saturday morning at the Furness household. And so you'd strip the sheets and you'd have you'd have your bunk beds in the upstairs bedroom, and we were so cool that you could actually, because you were still little enough, you could basically jump from the top bunk onto the floor. Right, crazy, I know, but if you had your comforter, you're down, but you could do it without hurting yourself. Which reminds me, when we would take our dog Wrigley, rest in peace, up to the deck in our backyard after a snowstorm, and just throw her right off. It's not as crazy as it sounds. You're only throwing her off the deck, I promise. But the snow would be about yay high. And here's the thing. When you use the phrase yay high, yay low, Kanye, how do you spell it? Is it Y-E-A, yay? It's kind of an old English, maybe Middle English kind of term. I'm thinking Beowulf. What I never saw is that kind of, I don't even know how you call it, live action remake of Beowulf that they made. That must have been 2008. Help me out here, guys. Okay, we're going to Google it. It's kind of a wild story. If you've never read Beowulf before, 2007, missed it by that much. We got some chats here. Did you experience any frostbite during your walk today? Thanks for the questions in the chat. Actually, I do appreciate it. And now we got Matt Fiedler, who his ears must have been ringing because we just had a tax question that we'll probably circle back to it, or probably not, because it's wildly inappropriate. WILDLY, nearly a palindrome. Today, I went for a walk today. Friday is a day off from running. And but I needed to get my legs moving a little bit, because otherwise it'd be stir crazy just sitting in here, and also get some vitamin D, because the sun was out, and vitamin C. I had a banana when I came back, but it was pretty damn cold. I used my AirPods, which are like these wireless headphones you put in your ears. I just learned about. I got them as like a return to work gift from my office back in August, and I only use them like once every other month. So I think this time was my third time ever using them. So I used those on my walk. But yeah, it was the sort of thing, a quarter mile from my house or so. And so by the time I had walked from McDonald's back to my apartment, at the end of my walk, I'm just holding my coffee in one hand while I'm walking, and it's hot coffee, and my hand was still like starting to feel the my circulation, my dexterity, my fingers were noticeably less dexterous. So that's how cold it is. You're holding a hot coffee, you're out there for 5 minutes or so. And it was still, really bad. So I have seen some people running in shorts this week, which that to me is a little bit too much. And you can tell it is too. In case you haven't been around Chicago, it's been, maybe, I don't know, the wind chill's been around 0 the whole week. A couple of my runs earlier this week, today was actually warmer. The wind chill was up to like 5 or 6. But a couple of my runs this week were negative digits Fahrenheit in the wind chill. It was cold, but I survived. And I got to tell you what, I was talking about something before we got the question about, today's exercise and being frostbit. And I completely lost what it was. But that's okay, because we're rolling here on the Beantown Podcast. It's just one topic to another. Boom, boom, boom. And thanks, people, for responding in the chat. We don't go live on YouTube too terribly often, because I gotta open up another laptop and sometimes put on a tie. And in case you're wondering, I put on the tie. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're going to want to go see. I'm looking like Justin Long or something. I kind of feel like a computer hacker or something. I don't really know, but this is kind of like my this is a very like old school Quinn kind of look, in that I used to very frequently dress like this, minus the sweatpants, when I would recruit basically full time. You can take Beowulf is what I was going to get to. I'm coming back to that. And actually there is a chat in our live stream. That's exactly what I was going to mention. Okay. I won't forget about this because I'm wearing it. My thought that I was going to finish was about Beowulf, and that I was talking about the movie, and the only thing I know about it is there's a scene where I think Angelina Jolie plays Grendel's mom, and she's like, digitally altered, enhanced, animated, something like that. I don't even know. I don't know any sort of technical jargon, if you will, from an animation or a effects perspective, visual effects perspective. So I don't really know how it worked. I think that it was a completely like it. I assume, you've got the human actors, obviously, but I assume they were all wearing like, you see Andy Serkis playing King Kong or Gollum. He's got like the little balls on him. I kind of assume that's sort of what the strategy was with that one. I don't really know. But they are like they look animated, right? And yeah, you get Angelina Jolie coming out of the water. Boy, I lost kind of how many times I watched that YouTube clip when that movie came out, because I definitely wasn't allowed to see it. But that was all I wanted to say about Beowulf. I mentioned this is a family-friendly program beforehand, so we'll leave it there. Just checking the comments here. Pizza as a work gift. That is a great gift. I'm jealous. You know what's crazy? And I think back to 2020 frequently here on the show, year 3 of the Beantown Podcast. That's when I lost all that weight. I didn't drink for the whole year, but I think what was harder for me that year was the fact that I didn't have a pizza or a slice of pizza, not even a cured meat of any kind, as far as I can recall, until August. We went to a Lou Malnati's, actually just right around the corner from where I live now. August of 2020. That was my first. You work your butt off. It's Friday night. You're like, okay, well, I don't, there's no alcohol. And by the time you get to March, you're kind of in tune with that. You're good with that. It's just not really part of your vocabulary anymore at that point. But I tell you what, the pizza was always just like, man, it's so easy. I don't have to cook. Just call up my buddies, Rosati or Lou, and just be like, hey, give me an extra large, extra sausage, just like me in college. It didn't land, okay, but I was thinking about it, and it's a B for effort at least. Yeah, I didn't have any pizza, but checking up on my comments here, tax deductible. I don't know. You guys are gonna have to connect offline and figure that out. I don't even know. Am I a Gryffindor? I think I would definitely be like. I know Hufflepuffs are kind of the losers, but here's the thing. Gryffindors are just like the white kids, and Slytherin are like evil. Not like just like kind of like the bad boys, but they're like actually evil, right? Which I don't really get. It's been a long time since I read Harry Potter. And then Ravenclaw, I don't really know anything about except they're kind of sneaky. With that in mind, I am a little bit sneaky, so I suppose I could be Ravenclaw. I don't want to be a loser like Hufflepuff. And I apologize if I've oversimplified anything or generalized things. But yeah, I wouldn't want to be, Gryffindor. That's just like the lamestream media. You know who I would be? I'd be Robert Pattinson. I don't know what, is he even at? I think he's from Hogwarts, right? Because it's the Triwizard Cup. And Harry Potter, like, sneaks his name into the Goblet of Fire or something. And so Hogwarts, because, they're special. They get 2 representatives. And then there's the Evander Kane, I think his name is. He's like a Quidditch champion from Slovakia. He's one of the other school's representatives. And then there's this absolute bombshell. I think she's played by Owen or something like that. And then there's Harry, and then there's Robert Pattinson. And I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but Robert Pattinson actually dies at the end of this movie. So I think that's who I would be, except I'm not dying at the end of the Beantown Podcast. We got, the comments are just rolling in here. I look like if Patrick Bateman worked at the Apple Genius Bar. Hey, I'll take it. We're going to come back to the look in a second here. Hufflepuff for life spelled incorrectly. I won't comment on that. I won't point it out. Slytherin better than Hufflepuff, I think so. Wasn't Jared Fogle a Slytherin? Probably. Osama bin Laden was a Ravenclaw. Very sneaky. I could see that. He was sneaking around that compound. If they didn't have night vision, there's no way they would have found him. Okay, back to the outfit, and then I promise we're getting into what we're actually talking about here on today's show, which is our year 4 recap. We're already 20 minutes in, man. I feel like I've just been, like a machine gun here, just boom, boom, boom. We got to read some ads, too. Thank our loyal sponsors. This look is very much like a callback to sort of like how I would dress when I would recruit at high schools. And the reason it's not just because it's like a solid look, like you don't have to always wear a blazer, but like you can wear like the more casual kind of a jacket, if you will. But you get a shirt and tie that work well for you, some good khakis, solid material, that sort of thing. Yeah, I am distracted. Absolutely. It's tough when you got, I'm not a Twitch streamer where I'm not really doing anything and then reading the comments off to the side. No offense to any Twitch streamers, but we got a show here that's 99% audio. So when you throw in the visuals and the live comments, I'm not used to it. The reason I would dress like this is I felt that it made me slightly more approachable. And here's the thing. I used to work for Johns Hopkins University, which has a reputation as being like very elite. It's, the number one research, that sort of thing. And that's just like not my vibe at all. Hopefully no one thinks of me as snooty or hyper competitive, because I don't perceive myself that way. But you'd go to these high schools and you get plenty of kids who are into that vibe, and that's why they want to come to your school. But then you get a bunch of those students too who are like not as familiar with you, and you are their impression of the university. You are their person that's personable. And so I tried to, I feel like this is a balancing act. My hair's going kind of crazy here. This look is kind of a balancing act between I feel like I still look like semi-presentable, which is an upgrade for me. Typically there's this little slice off to the side here that I can't seem to fix. If I nudge my head like this, you can't even notice. So I guess I'll just look this way the whole time. But it's like, I still look good. I still got a tie, but also I'm cool. I'm hip. I know what you're going through. Okay. Cause I'm wearing this cool little jacket too. This is almost like a Hassan Minaj look. Although I don't think he really wears ties, and he probably wouldn't wear a jacket from Kmart, and not really the sweatpants either. And I don't know if I've ever seen him wear a blue shirt. So other than that though, and he's got a thicker beard, and he's, South Asian. But besides that, it's kind of like the Hassan Minaj look. And so in my mind, it always was like, okay, you're a little bit more presentable. You're not this gatekeeper that's terribly elitist, something like that. So that's what this look reminds me of. Let's see. About to drive. It's about power. It's The Rock. I don't know that quote, but I agree with it. At work right now, someone just asked if I was watching a journalist hostage video. Maybe. Sometimes I feel held hostage by this show. I'm like, why did I start this show? And why, what would have been better if I committed to once a year track. But, I said once a week, and that's sort of what I committed to. So here we are. Okay. So what I want to do on today's show, it's our year 4 recap, and it's taken us 25 minutes to get there. But we are indeed just going to run down some of the highlights, the highs, the lows, the additional lows, and I haven't been to a Lowe's in a while, but I went to a Lowe's because I know this is why you came to hear about my trip to Lowe's. Around Mother's Day, actually, my own mother was visiting, and but I didn't get anything for her at Lowe's. I went to Lowe's with my mom. She stayed out in the car. Dr. Jane Dennison Furness, who's on the show not 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And I went inside actually to get my partner's mom some flowers, a hanging basket. I don't know if they were petunias, lobelias, marmalades, or patagonias. But what's the one from South Carolina? Palmetto. Or Mississippi's got their own kind of flower tree thing going on too. What's not macadamia? Mississippi. I don't know. I can't remember it. But no, that's the last time I was at Lowe's. But here's what I got my mom for Mother's Day. She stayed at my apartment for 2 or 3 nights and got to see this lovely face. And it was a better apartment because it was my old Rogers Park apartment. Rest in peace. That place can run circles around this apartment. I will be moving out in 5 months here, just like the Billy Joel song. Okay, so we go to the Beantown Podcast. I got to update the photo for year 5 next week. That's a whole hassle. I got to log into SoundCloud. You have to have a JPEG or a TIFF file. Hours later, it's finally done. Okay, so let's click See All Episodes. Okay, so we go back to the start of 2021, and let's start from the beginning. Okay, so we had our year 3 recap, which was an hour 19 minutes long. I at this point you're thinking like, oh, are we gonna hit that this time? God, I hope not, but maybe, because I don't have anything going on. Hey, tell you what, if you're still in the chat, what should I have for supper tonight? I don't know, because I gotta go out and get something. I'm not afraid to cook, and Trader Joe's is just not 50 yards from here. Okay, then we started off. I do recall this, and perhaps I could do this again this year. Maybe make it a tradition. I don't know. But there's 14 of them. We did an NFL playoff team home cities power rankings in fewer words than that. That was a lot of fun because I think I got to bash on Cleveland, which was cool. Excuse me. The only bad thing is that St. Louis does not currently have an NFL team. I would love to make them be a tie for last, be kind of a little, we don't do a lot of ties in our power rankings traditionally. So if it was like, we had Cleveland and St. Louis, they could be co-hosts of last place, and that would be a lot of fun. But maybe we'll do that next week. I don't know. We will know who our playoff teams are next week as the NFL concludes. Right now there's a game. I just realized that. But they were really stupid. They put Kansas City versus Denver on. And I think it's happening right now. Denver is just bad. I mean, they were one of those teams whose record is like 3 or 4 wins better than what they deserve. That offense is down the tubes, 2 thumbs down. Okay. Then we said January 15th, carbo loading meals for the whole family. I don't know what that was about, but presumably food. Then we had Pokemon and lasagna recipes. Now, I don't know if that's Pokemon, stop, and also lasagna cake. Here's a question, our call to action for this week. Email beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. Again, it's beantownpodcast@yahoo.com. If you had a birthday cake, and it could be any Pokemon you wanted, which Pokemon would it be? Off the bat, okay, so you got your Pikachus, obviously a fan favorite. Squirtle, especially with those little sunglasses. I mean, that guy is just precocious. But maybe you could have a dark horse cake, like a dark Pokemon, Umbreon, Generation 2. Okay, these are the connections I want you to make. Keep it under 500 words or less in your recommendation, please. This was a trippy episode. Speaking of getting high, you should definitely do this for this one. Quinn's Dream from January 30th, 2021. And I don't think I really finished my point about being high or getting high earlier. Here's the thing. The only time I've ever done anything remotely relevant to any of that is a couple of like gummies. Not all at once, but just one at a time, like one per day. And not even that, because it was like 2 or 3 days total. When I was out of my parents' house, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. But to kind of put the period on the point here, it's completely illegal in Illinois. I can go walk into a dispensary, get something anytime I want, do whatever I want to do. But I never think about it. I'm never really drawn to it, other than right now because it's dry January. And I'm thinking, hey, I still want to kind of party. But no, I just never really thought about it. I've heard it's expensive, and also I think I'm like intimidated, not intimidated, but just like I don't want to go through the pain or just like feeling like, oh, I got to learn the lingo or know what this is, know what that means. We got to vote for Jinx in the chat or Jigglypuff for Pokemon cake. That's good. Keep them coming. You can always email us or tweet at us. My personal Twitter is @whitebuns with a Z, or the show's Twitter, which I check at least once every other day for that to happen too. But my dream was really trippy because I literally had this dream, and we've all had those dreams that are very lucid and feel like deja vu, where it's like, oh wait, this definitely happened. Like even after I woke up, for at least 27 seconds, I was thinking to myself like, wow, that was a crazy dream. I can't believe I dreamed about that memory from childhood. And then as you really dig into that memory, you're like, wait, that didn't actually happen to me. I must have been incepted. Where's Leo? Where's Cillian Murphy? Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Elliot Page? Notice how I correctly said his new name and got the pronouns right. I don't know what the opposite of canceled is, but you're looking at it, folks. Okay, then something about the Music Man. I don't even remember. I think I had another dream where I was directing a school production of The Music Man, perhaps, and a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City finale. Speaking of which, okay, now's a great time to mention Real Housewives of Salt Lake City had a new episode last week, and Mary Cosby is pretty racist. Basically, we continue to learn that Whitney has like sunk both her and her husband Justin's like entire finances into this rebrand. It's not even launching a business. It's literally just like rebranding the business, which seems really stupid. I understand if you're like your business is going down the tubes and you think rebranding is the only way to save it, but I think they've literally spent like, I think she says it's like 300 grand on a rebrand, which is just like, that's a lot of money. So Whitney hosts a party. It's like the launch party of the new brand. And Jenny, our newest housewife, who is Vietnamese, actually confronts Mary, along with everyone else, about Mary's racism. If you don't recall, we're going to do a little race relations 101 here on the Beantown, because they're the two Asian cast members on the show. She said that she likes her yellow tones and that she likes her slanted eyes. And so Jenny confronted Mary about it. Mary was actually pretty chill. Like, at first she was just like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. And then some other stuff happened. Mary kind of walks out, whatever. You should have seen Meredith's outfit. It was awful. All sorts of feathers coming out of all sorts of, crannies. And it did not work at all. But basically, you're kind of seeing a clean split almost as we set aside the Jen drama for the time being. Because right now she's just sort of in this holding pattern where, she's out on bond, she's awaiting trial, whatever the legal terms are. Where you basically this simply, to simplify the summary here, Mary is terrible and probably a cult leader, but Meredith is kind of sticking with Mary because she's mad at everyone else that they didn't really stand up for Meredith's son, Brooks, when Jen Shah was cyberbullying him online. The whole thing is very twisted and convoluted. So you're kind of getting this weird faction break where Meredith is chilling with Mary, even though Meredith is like a very sane, real person. And then everyone else, I don't even know what the argument is. But basically, Mary needs to stop being super racist. Everyone else is kind of doing their own thing. There's not a ton of drama, but there is a cast trip coming up. We are kind of twirling, and burling towards Irving Berlin towards the finish line here. I think there's probably going to be 4 episodes left, something like that. So they're going on a cast trip. They're going back in a bus, much like they took to Vail without Jen Shah because she got arrested. But now Jen Shah is in the bus, and the little sneak preview showed that she's grumpy. So a refurbished phone. It's a 10S, I think. I don't know. It's like an XS or something, if that's what 10S is. I bought it online this morning because I woke up. This phone has been on its last legs ever since it could stand. But I woke up, and this has happened to me a couple times before. But where you go to bed, your phone's at like 80%, 90%, something like that, and you wake up and it's just chilling at 1%, just having a good time. And it's happened to me before, and it's not a big deal. And it's not because like I have background apps running or Bluetooth or anything. It's just like because I've done that dance a million times before. I know what I'm doing with my phone. So, but this time you can go check the battery on your phone. You can see like what is its max capacity, and it's been 80% for a while. And it said like needs repairing soon or something like that. And then I opened up the battery this morning after I give it a little bit of a charge, restarted all that stuff. And the max capacity is 79%. So we're going down in flames. And I think the status literally changed from like check soon to, I don't even know the word, but it was like, basically your phone is effed. So I bought a new phone, and that should come sometime next week. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be big, and I don't think there's a home button, which I'm a little scared for. This will be my 3rd ever smartphone. So this one has treated me well. It's a 7, I think. And it's been, I've had it for maybe 3 years, something like that. It's been solid. I also bought this one used. So I'm really just looking forward to a better battery life is always good. But the biggest thing for my phone, because I do some work on there, some software testing, is you periodically have to just shut it down and give it a clean, not a clean, but you're not wiping it or anything, but just shut it off and it likes to do the thing where it gets a little overworked. That battery just drops like that old Bugs Bunny cartoon with the dingbat or whatever it's called, where that plane is going straight down. Sorry, folks, we ran out of gas. They stop. I won't spoil it for you, but they stop this far from the ground. And what happens next? Well, I don't know. You'll have to watch it. I don't know what it's called. It's called like the dingbat in the hair or something like that, or Hairy Skies, or Bugs Bunny featuring dingbat. If you Google it, I bet you would find it. Okay, let's continue on here with the year in review, and then we'll get to some ads in a little bit here. So we just talked about whatever the Music Man and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City was. I happened to talk about it for 37 minutes. Then we did a Salute to Love. It was a Valentine's Day episode. I can't tell you more than that. I don't remember that episode. Okay, then we have, and this will be a good opportunity to preview this year's installment. We had our 4th annual Beantown Podcast Pledge Drive fundraiser. And you'll remember this year was particularly special for the show because here, if you haven't gotten a clean look at our fancy new light, there it is on the YouTube stream. I'll just hold it up while I'm talking because it's more interesting than looking at me. We decided starting this year because the show has done really well. We've got a lot of dedicated fans, and also just me personally. I've been very fortunate with income the last couple of years. We decided to start matching dollar for dollar our donations that we received via our GoFundMe to a charity of my choice. I think last year's United Way. We'll see what it's going to be this year. I haven't looked into it yet, but that was exciting because every year we're raising $200 or $300, something like that. And so what that means, if you're doing the math at home, is that the Beantown Podcast Pledge Drive Fundraiser annual telethon, as we're going into its 5th year, you all donate money. It's advertised as covering operation costs, and actually I got my automated email from WordPress.com today saying that my show has been or my domain has been renewed automatically, which that's what I wanted to happen. But what I'm trying to say here is you all donate money to the show. That money turns around and goes directly to charity now. So I'm technically losing. It's not like I take the money, off the top for the operating costs and then donate what's left to charity. We turn it around straight to charity. So I know what you're thinking, Quinn. Well, we could just decide to not support your show, cut out the middleman, and donate to a charity of our choice. And I say you could do that. And when we do that, we'll have to stop donating to charity and go back because that's how I know we'll bring you back to the table that way. But it's exciting. I was happy to be able to do that last year, and I'm looking forward to being able to do it again this year. The 5th annual Beantown Podcast Pledge Drive telethon fundraiser will be this coming up in just over a month here in February, which is always exciting. It's towards the beginning of the year. Okay. This was a classic installment, DMV and anniversaries. I had to go to the Department of Motor Vehicles during COVID. I'm describing like the worst thing on earth. On my anniversary, it was great. It was a Monday morning. I woke up early next to in my partner's arms. And left the house at literally like 5:30 because the DMV, I have to go back and listen to the episode, but it opens at like 8 or something. But I work, and I was working from home at the time, which was great. But it's still like you want to try to get home as early as possible so you can actually do your work. And also I wasn't about to, because if you go out to the DMV at like 10:30, 11, mid-morning, like that's your whole day, more or less. And one of the reasons for that, is because the DMV, at the time, I don't know if it's changed. I haven't looked into it. But in Chicago, the closest one up to Edgewater, transfer to another bus to go west out to, basically like the blue line, the end of the brown line, 9094 right there. Get off the bus, walk another half mile, and there you're at the DMV. So as you can imagine, doing that in late February, at literally 7 a.m. It was a lot of fun. I think I got into the line like at 7. It took me over an hour to get there. And it was my anniversary. So I was really happy to, wake us both up at like 5:30 in the morning and leave. It was probably one of my better anniversaries. But yeah, I went to the DMV and, they say if you're a safe driver, you can renew online. You just have to use the code and the letter they send you. You're looking at a guy who's never had a ticket, never had a citation, a warning, and authorization of any kind. Nope, can't renew online. So you got to come to our facility. Wait in line forever. It's very cold. And I did that. So that was fun. And I'm not looking forward to going back. Okay, moving on here. Spring cleaning, whatever. Birthday podcast year 4. The birthday podcast is always a highlight for me because it's my birthday. Breaking down the 2021 March Madness underdogs. March Madness underdogs. Always good when we talk sports. The next one was just titled "God Damn You, Christian Davis." After that, we had our Easter special year 4 featuring my mom, Dr. Jane Dennison Furness, probably talking about my favorite Easter tradition when the angel of death comes over the Israelites, and unless if let's say you forgot or no one gave you the message, you didn't smear the lamb's blood over the transom or over the top post of your door. I don't know what a transom is. I think it's actually a window. Then he's going to come in there and kill your firstborn son. So it's an Easter tradition like none other. Then we had our taxes special, always a treat. Then we had Sauce and Bread Kitchen is on the hit list. I recall this. I don't recall much about it, but I went to Sauce and Bread Kitchen, which is a local spot up on Clark in Edgewater, just south of Pratt there. And I got, I think it was a large coffee and a scone or something like that. And I think it came out to it was like $12 or something. It was mind blowing, or maybe 15. I'd have to go back and listen to the exact price. But that I put them on my hit list, and maybe they're out of business. I don't know. It's a shame because it's a nice, quaint little shop. I love supporting the little guys, but not when you're doing that. Then we did our Oscars preview 2021. We've had comments on the live stream from our good friend Ryan Austin English Ligon, who's been on our Oscars preview many times in the past. We'll see if we want to do it again this year. I think neither of us is very plugged into movies right now. It was a different age, right? Movie Pass. It was the golden age of cinema, at least for yours truly. But we always do an Oscars preview. I don't know when it is this year. Ever since they stopped having a host for the Oscars, the magic really fell out of it for me. I don't know about you, but I like having the host. You get a fun opening number. Oftentimes there's a song or dance. I don't know. I just like a monologue to kick off the night. Now when they do it, and I recognize people get pissed that the Oscars are too long, and they are. But now when they do it, it's like, welcome to the Oscars. Here's these, this person or these two people who aren't the host, but they're still going to welcome you to the show. And it's just like, just have a host, give us somebody to root for, someone to hate, something like that. I don't know. It'd be fun. Okay, then we did our NFL Draft 2021 live commentary, which we've actually done once before. No, that was the NBA Draft. We had that might have been our top listened to episode with a friend of the show, John Paul Pandowski. 1,000 hits. People love the NBA, I guess. But I did my NFL Draft. Then it was called Mother's Day. We already talked about Mother's Day a little bit on the show here when I went to Lowe's. Then, it's one of my all-time favorite episodes, our top 10 horse names special. I always have a really good time doing that. We get write-ins from the crowd sometimes. Let's go back and look at our horse names while we're here, just so you recall what our number ones have been. So for 2018, we had Episcopalian, still my all-time favorite. From 2019, we had Pentateuch. From 2020, we had Irregardless. And from 2021, this past year's top horse name, we had Intensive Purposes, which I think is really fun. Okay, then next we had Moving Day. I moved away from Rogers Park, which it's good to be closer to some friends, to my partner, to the office. But, man, that apartment was awesome. Spacious, good natural lighting, great acoustics. I had Richard upstairs, who was just I really didn't like it, but always a great story to tell about Richard. So I miss it up there for sure. We had a Memorial Day podcast. Oh, then we had our War on Lady Gaga, overpriced iced coffee, and podcast without purpose. You know I was coming out firing on that show. Then we had a great one for the locals, the Northern Illinois high school or YMCA or club or whatever swimming pool rankings. You know the Crinicuses and the Tribbles out there. You know they must have enjoyed that one. Then we did our Happy Father's Day / Tips for a Fun Summer. Didn't do the Father's Day song this year. I'm still working on it. Then we did our Island Living special, which was a lot of fun because we got to detail the story of Quinn getting food poisoning in the Dominican Republic. Always a great time. Oh, we got some a chat in Russian, but hello from Russia, Niet, which means hello in Russian. Okay, then we did our Beantown Podcast Salute to Nationalism, our July 4th episode. Hoorah! I love it. I've still never seen, is it Starship Troopers or Super Troopers? Starship Troopers, right? That's like a parody, making fun of the military and nationalism, I think. I'm going to check it out one of these days. Then we learned, and we take it with us until 5 seconds ago, that I am the 112th ranked comedy podcast in the country of Pakistan. It opened up a whole new internationally connected, globally connected world for the Beantown Podcast. And so I have unofficially dubbed myself as the king of Pakistani comedy. And that was an episode when I reviewed Chicago's Laugh Factory, which is trash, the last couple of times I've gone. Then we played a little bit of music, and we used to do a lot of movie reviews on the Beantown Podcast. We did one that week where we reviewed Zola, which is a really fun movie. If you get the chance to watch it on streaming, I actually encourage you to watch that. It was Riley Keough, however you say her last name, Elvis's granddaughter, and a couple other actors and actresses whose names I cannot recall off the top of my head. But it's really fun. It's based off of a Twitter string. What is that called? A string of tweets? A Twitter feed? No, a tweet storm. It's a hell of a lot of fun. You should definitely go watch it. Okay, then we spent 2 weeks actually previewing the Tokyo Summer Olympics. Hard to believe. In my mind, that's like a long time ago, but Tokyo happened just, 6 months ago, something like that. So we went through every single sport and broke it down, looked at the medal counts, all that stuff. Summer Olympics were happening. And the Winter Olympics are coming up in just a month here. I doubt we'll do a 2-week preview of that because I just don't care. Then we had our top 10 medical procedures at Desert Island. He's got tonsillitis. He's got to take him out or else he's going to die. He does it himself. He lives. It's amazing. And also tracheotomy. Then, rest in peace, work from home. Also Friday the 13th. That's like, it's like the most depressing title of all time. This was August 13th, 2021. It was the end of our year and a half work from home period. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot along the way. I slept a ton. I ran a lot. There was that period at the beginning where we had to do a Zoom call every morning at 9:30 a.m. Was not a fan. Once we dropped that, I was in much better shape, much happier. But yeah, work from home was, I got to tell you, back in the office now, but I still get to work from home 1 day a week. And before COVID, that never would have been a thing. So I got something out of it. Okay. And that's, I'll take it. Then I said, let's cancel these people August 20th. I don't remember who it was, but definitely Aquafina. Next we did our this was so much fun. And we'll do something like that again this year because I've got a lot of vacation days, 24 minimum, 29 maximum, plus federal holidays and a winter break to be exact. Our road trip, where if you weren't a fan of the show back then, we started in Phoenix, did a little hike in Sedona up to the Grand Canyon. I literally left Flagstaff at 3:30 in the morning to get to the Grand Canyon, start my hike at 5, went down to Plateau Point, back out, did that all in I don't know what it was. It was 4 hours. that can't be right. Maybe like 5 or 6 hours, because I think it's like a 12-mile hike, something like that. So I think it was like 4 hours, or excuse me, like 6 hours. I know it was faster than I thought I was going to go, but that was a ton of fun. I'd been to the Grand Canyon before, but this was like, it's just you, some tourists, a bighorn sheep that drank a lot of water, saw some lizards, saw a lot of deer. It was a lot of fun. And then that same day, that was one of the longest days of my life, drove up to the top of Hoover Dam, bought a postcard, a shot glass, got a really bad bloody nose in both nostrils, finished in Las Vegas. Next day, I went to Death Valley. I took a video of a couple proposing because he asked me to. He said, take a picture. And then he said under his breath, no, actually, it's going to be a video. So I did that. It was like 7 a.m. at near the Furness Visitor Center. Okay, Furnace. Did some hikes in Death Valley, saw some stuff from Star Wars. And then I went to the base of Mount Whitney, which you got to drive like straight up just to get there. But that was really cool. And then finished up in Bakersfield, California. The next day, I hiked in Los Angeles, north of Los Angeles, kind of around the Hollywood sign. I saw a tarantula. Got lost once or twice. Didn't have any cell reception. It was a little scary, but it's okay. I made it. Went to Santa Monica Pier. Always wanted to go ever since I ran some people over on Grand Theft Auto 5 out there. And finished up in Palm Springs. It was 113 on the thermometer. And then flew out of Phoenix the next morning after I drove across the desert. I did 2 software tests. While I stopped at a gas station, got some gas, did a software test, went to the next gas station, got some more gas, did another software test. So I was paying a self-sustaining economy as I was driving through the desert, and that's really all you can ask for. Then we did our fantasy football preview. No comment on the outcome of this year. Then I had I usually have at least one episode a year where I'm just completely out of ideas. I did a little 9/11 elaboration, heartfelt, no comedy there. That was live from Beantown, actually. Missed opportunity to do something with the name. And then we recapped my brother's wedding. Congratulations to brother of the podcast, Walt, on getting married. We had a great episode. Words with multiple spellings, of which we had multiple. That was fun. Then we did, this was, the power rankings tend to really get the crowd into it. So we power ranked the SNL Saturday Night Live season 47 cast power rankings. And here's the thing, SNL is coming back next week. The 2 people who are hosting, people I've never heard of. And I had to ask Rachel about this yesterday. She's heard of the musical guest, but not the host. The host is Ariana Dubois, not Grande. I know what you're thinking at home. You're like, Quinn can't read. No, it's Dubose. Maybe like a French explorer or something, but apparently she's in musical theater. I don't know. And then the host, or excuse me, the musical act is Richie Rich, which is I was confused too. I was like, hey, that's Macaulay Culkin's character from the 90s. No, apparently he's a rapper now. So it's not Macaulay Culkin though. This individual is an African American. So that will be interesting to sort of see, like, does he explain how he came to wear the mantle? I don't know, but yeah, Richie Rich and Angela Dubois. So that's going to be interesting. Then we did our Chicago Marathon 2021 special. Actually sat down with a map. We traced the route. We talked about it. We analyzed it. And then the actual marathon happened, and I got my ass whooped. And then the next episode was called I'm Retired from marathons. So we did that. Then we did an autumn airing of grievances. It's always fun when we can complain on this show. We did our year 4 Halloween Spooktacular. We talked about things that spook us. That's up here on here twice. So hopefully you didn't listen to it twice, get to the end, and think, maybe I've heard that before. I don't know why it's on there twice. Then we did our 200th episode live from the Big Apple. With a special guest appearance from Rachel. She did a great job. Then we did our big Jen Shaw's podcast, and I know you like the Big Ideas podcast. I've got a couple more ideas saved in my phone for our next Big Ideas podcast. We've done that a couple times in the past. We will absolutely be bringing that back early on this year. And we did our Beantown Thanksgiving tribute. I created a little college and university trivia for you all. I read some questions live on air. you had the opportunity to answer them. You could email beantownpodcast@yahoo.com with your final score, see how you compared against the host. So that was a lot of fun. No one emailed. And then we did the worst Christmas songs ever, which is another kind of opportunity to air grievances. But Chipmunks was definitely on there. And then I recapped my romantic weekend getaway in Michigan with Rachel. We went to Saugatuck. It was absolutely one of my favorite trips of all time. We loved it there. And then just 2 weeks ago, we had our Christmas Eve special. Thank you to Santa for calling in. Thank you to my mom, Jane Denison Furness, for calling in. And last week, we had our Happy New Year special featuring our critically acclaimed segment, Interview with the Dog. And folks, you can see we've reached, Harry, I've reached the top. That was the Beantown Podcast Year 4. Capped off by the Beantown Podcast Year 4 recap. And here we are. We've made it. It's another year. Let's do a quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll finish up because I'm going to go eat some supper or something. But I couldn't leave before you all know who has had a hand in making this show as special as it is. Okay. Oh, Home Pride Oregon. I love these guys. Are you tired of selling your house for less than a quarter of what it's worth, all because you couldn't find a reliable home inspector in time? Well, Oregon listeners, I got good news for you. Home Pride Inspection Services in Bend, Oregon is Central Oregon's hottest new home inspection provider. The inspection services, including things like heating and cooling. Oh, there we are. So you know you're getting the good stuff. If you're tired of big real estate wrangle on the home inspection market and you want to save, certified home inspector you can trust, call Steve at 541-40316, or you can visit homeprideoregon.com. Again, that's 541-40316, or visit homeprideoregon.com. Home Pride Oregon Inspection Perfection. I also want to give a shout out to the Samsung Q2U series, something we did not mention, but absolutely happened. Is we got a new Samsung this year. I'm using it right now. One of our old ones died, so we have a replacement. We still have two for in-person interviews, of which we've had not many recently, but I'm already ready, or I'm always ready, rather. Okay, finally, our friends Cuts by Q. Bob and Weave, we all know the hairstyle, we all love it, but how many Chicago-based independent barbers can actually give it to you the way you deserve? Enter Cuts by Q. It's like Enter Sandman, but different. Cuts by Q has been independently owned and operated since 1995 and is probably one of the better barbershop operations serving Chicago, Cook County, Northwest Indiana, and the greater Chicagoland area. One thing we didn't get any of this year is Papa's, and I wanted to go one time because I was driving back from working in Ohio. I Facebook messaged them, and they never responded. So I don't know if Papa is on a sabbatical or what the deal is. But Papa, if you're listening, what gives? From beehives to bangs, faux hawks to flat tops, and everything in between, call Cuts by Q at 815-298-7200, or you can email cutsbyq@yahoo.com. Again, that's cut! by Q@yahoo.com. Okay, sing it with us one last time in year 4. Oh, when you need a fresh do, something snappy and new, just call the experts at Cuts by Q. If we stick the year or the live on air Beantown Podcast neon sign right in front of the camera, that's basically all you can see. And that's fine because this is a kind of a low quality production. We made it to the end of year 4. Okay, this blue light's kind of distracting. Let's move it out of the way. We did it. Now you can only see my crotch. There. It's been an hour-long stream after a 10-hour workday. Okay, so I'm giving myself a little bit of leeway. I want to thank everyone who's listened to the show. And I sincerely mean that. It's a lot of fun on days like today, particularly when we stream on YouTube. We get chats in the comment. That's fun to see. It's cool, especially in COVID and not getting to physically interact with friends of the show and fans and followers and all that stuff as much as I used to be able to do. So it's a lot of fun when I get to be able to do that. And I really enjoy it. And the Beantown blog is still going. I know you think it's dead. I posted at least once this past year. I had to recap my food poisoning nightmare. shout it again to the love of my life, Rachel Ramos, for getting us back into the country. She's the best. That's what I got. My Mac is dying over here off screen. You can't really see it. And there's not much else to say. It was a hell of a year. It was year 4. And we got year 5 coming in hot. Stop in the Name of Love. That's a song, right? I'll have to listen to it after this. Thanks to Jackson Brown helping me open the show. I do not own that song. So YouTube, you can just cool it. I'm surprised they didn't shut down my stream when I was trying to sing Jackson Brown karaoke. Jeez. Shout out to Pakistan for helping bring this show international. And otherwise, there's nothing more to say. I'm going to go find something for supper. I have to go back outside one more time, unfortunately. Bundle up. And yeah, going to have a chill Friday night. Got to check in on those NFL games. I forgot those were heading into year 5. Okay, year 5 is kicking off next week. It's going to be fun. It's going to be hot. We're going to have all new segments. It's probably going to be unlike anything you ever heard before. So just look out because it's going to come at you fast. Everyone, thanks to the chat for commenting. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to Pakistan for listening. Thank you to the friends. Hashtag friends of the podcast, the beanheads out there. This is year 4. It's in the books. We are starting the 5th year of the Beantown Podcast next week. So that's what I got for you. Let's cue up some music. We'll cut YouTube out first. That's it for me. I'll see everyone later. Keep it tight. Yeah, that's what I got to say for YouTube. And for